Discover the 5 amazing secrets that will transform your life forever. Inspiration heartwarming. Every Friday night, the diner glowed with the warm light of laughter and buttery goodness wafting from the kitchen. Sarah moved with practiced grace, balancing trays loaded with comfort food. She wore a bright smile, her heart warmed by the chatter of regulars, the very heartbeat of their small Midwestern town. Jake and Lily were her everything, and she worked hard for them, her mind often drifting back to her father. A proud war veteran, he had taught her the values of hard work and resilience, how to stand tall against life's storms. Little did she know, another storm was brewing. That Friday evening, a commotion stirred. Mr. Thompson, a city council member known for his flashy suits and shady dealings, stood in the center of the diner, his finger pointed at Sarah like a gun. "I know you've been stealing from this place," he accused her, his tone dripping with malice. Murmurs spread like wildfire amongst the patrons, and Sarah's heart sank. The room, once filled with warmth and camaraderie, turned cold and judgmental. Sarah felt the sting of betrayal from people she had served with kindness for years. Tears pricked her eyes as the whispers swirled around her. The righteous indignation in her chest battled with the crushing weight of indignity. Her father's teachings echoed in her mind: integrity, community, and forgiveness. But was forgiveness feasible when her very livelihood was at stake? Her instinct screamed at her to defend herself, but fear paralyzed her. Just before flooding the diner with more noise and accusations, Sarah paused. Was integrity fading away in the face of accusations? She glanced at Jake and Lily, sitting at a booth. Their innocent faces, filled with confusion and hope, ignited a fire within her. She took a deep breath, summoning courage from all the struggles she had faced. She needed to rise above this, not just for herself, but for her children. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Sarah sat in her small living room, staring at the walls that felt like they were closing in, she could feel the weight of the town meeting approaching. Would she dare put herself on the line? The stakes were high, the chatter from that night lingered long past closing time. The beauty of those 5 secrets her father had shared suddenly felt distant amidst the bitterness of betrayal. Suddenly, she realized her father had taught her another valuable lesson: to never underestimate the power of resilience. Would the community see her as she truly was? Would they remember her kindness, the countless cups of coffee she had served, the smiles she had shared? As she prepared to face the town, her heart raced, knowing that everything was about to change. Out there in that hall, as the whispers grew louder, would she find her voice amidst the echoes? The chamber was filled with uncertainty, and for Sarah, it became clear, this was the moment. Would she step forward and reclaim her truth, or would doubt swallow her whole, keeping her children shackled to a false narrative? The town hall was buzzing with tension as Sarah entered, her heart racing like a drum in her chest. Chairs scraped against the linoleum floor, and she could see familiar faces staring back at her, some filled with concern, others with judgment. The long wooden table stretched out before her, where Mr. Thompson sat smugly, his arms crossed, the very picture of unwarranted authority. As she stepped forward, a silence enveloped the room. It felt thick, like a fog that pressed down on her. This was her moment, the crescendo building inside of her. She glanced back, catching a glimpse of Jake and Lily nestled in the corner, their small hands clutching each other tightly. They were her anchors, grounding her against the turbulence swirling in her mind. "Sarah, do you have anything to say?" The mayor's voice broke through the silence, urging her to break the spell. Taking a deep breath, she focused on the faces in front of her, those who had once shared laughs and meals at the diner. "I've served this community with love and hard work." Her voice was steady, though her insides churned. "To accuse me of stealing is not just a blow to me, but to every person who believes in goodness. Her words hung in the air, charged with emotion. She could feel the murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some nodded, while others seemed unconvinced. "It was an accident," Mr. Thompson scoffed, his tone dripping with disdain. "Everyone knows you've been skimming off the top. It's just a matter of time before the truth comes out." Sarah's heart sank, his words felt like daggers. But then her father's lessons echoed again: resilience, love, and unwavering belief in truth. "You don't know what your accusations can do," she countered, her voice stronger now. "I'm not here to fight back with anger. I'm here to claim my dignity and fight for my children." The crowd began to stir. She could see expressions change, confusion transforming into understanding. A few supporters began to murmur encouragement, their voices growing louder. "We believe in you, Sarah." One patron called out, prompting nods from others. Tension shifted in the room as she pressed on. "I've dedicated my life to this diner and this community. I've served coffee with a smile, lent a listening ear, and thrown special birthday parties for children. I am guilty of trying to make this town better, but I swear, I am not guilty of this crime." With every word, she felt a little more weight lift off her shoulders. It was like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. Mr. Thompson shifted in his chair, questioning his grip on the narrative he had crafted. The atmosphere began to crack with uncertainty. For every accusation he threw out, Sarah countered with a memory, a smile, a connection forged over shared meals. As she spoke, something remarkable happened. One by one, the town's residents began to stand up, recalling their own experiences with her. A former diner employee shared a story of how Sarah helped her through a tough time, while a local teacher recounted how Sarah's generosity supported students in need. As the room erupted into a chorus of voices defending her, Sarah's eyes brimmed with tears of gratitude. "Thank you. Thank you all," she exclaimed, her heart swelling with love and community. But just when she felt her victory within reach, she saw Mr. Thompson take out a newspaper from his briefcase, plastered with a shocking headline that could change everything. What could this mean? As the murmurs escalated again, a wave of uncertainty washed over her. Was this just the beginning of a deeper struggle? What new truth would unfold next? The air thickened with anticipation as Mr. Thompson held the newspaper high, his face a mask of triumph. Sarah felt her stomach drop. It was as if time paused, allowing her heart to thunder in her chest. What damning evidence lay within those crisp pages that could undo the fragile support she had just built? "Everyone, take a look," he bellowed, thrusting the paper toward the crowd. Heads leaned forward, eyes widening as they scanned the headline: "Local diner owner fired amid allegations of embezzlement." Gasps echoed through the room, each sound cutting deeper into her heart. Whispers of disbelief erupted as townsfolk exchanged uneasy glances. Sarah's breath hitched, but she remained rooted in place, a knot of fear and anger tightening in her stomach. "Stop!" she shouted, the fire igniting again. "This isn't about me, this is about us. We're letting rumors and fear tear apart everything we've built together." Mr. Thompson smirked, enjoying the chaos. "This isn't just a rumor, Sarah. This is the truth. The authorities are already involved." The word struck her like a slap. The truth? She felt her resolve falter for a moment, but she couldn't let him win. Not now. Not when every face looking back at her held some piece of her spirit, from the regulars who shared laughter in her diner to the children who knew her as more than just the owner. "Listen to me," she said, her voice rising above the disarray. "This article may be a catalyst for change, but the real truth is found here, among you." She pointed to the townspeople, her own voice tremulous yet firm. "Each of you has a part in this story. Every meal shared, every conversation had its all proof that I have been here for you, for each and every one of you." A woman in the back nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks as she stood up, her voice cracking. "She helped me when my husband was laid off. She didn't raise prices even when she could have. Others began to whisper their own stories, igniting an ember of collective strength. Sarah felt encouraged, their words were a balm for her frayed nerves. But the doubt remained, lurking like a shadow in her mind. Would it be enough? Then Mr. Thompson spoke again, his tone mockingly soft. What about the missing funds, Sarah? What kind of explanation can you give for that? You can't just deflect your way out of this. Justin, a young man who used to work the kitchen with her, jumped up, anger flushing his cheeks. We all know how you take care of this diner. There's no way you're involved in this. The crowd erupted into cheers, a chorus of voices united against the darkness that Mr. Thompson had cast. But before she could bask in the glow of the support, Sarah's eyes narrowed on the article in Mr. Thompson's hands. I want to see what it says, she demanded, her heart racing. I'm not running from this. The truth matters. Just then, a new voice emerged from the audience. It was Lily, her daughter, stepping forward with the bravery that pierced through the tension. Mom, I believe in you. All eyes shifted to the little girl. The powerful mix of innocence and courage resonated in the room. Sarah felt absorbed by emotion, an almost overwhelming swell that steadied her resolve. As Mr. Thompson reluctantly handed the paper over to her, the mayor called for order, but the air buzzed with a newfound urgency. Sarah unfolded the newspaper, scanning for context beneath the headline, her heart pounding in rhythm with each word she read. What she found on those pages was startling. A mix of truth and lies danced before her eyes, and she realized she held more than just a lifeline, she held a key. Would this revelation brand her a victim, or would it propel her into a fight that could change everything? Before she could process her next move, unexpected footsteps echoed through the hall, and the door creaked open. A figure stepped inside, one she had never anticipated seeing again. Was this the ally she needed, or another adversary ready to lay siege at her feet? The crowd collectively held its breath, awaiting a new chapter in this unfolding drama. The figure that stepped through the door sent a ripple of recognition through the crowd. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. It was Tom, her estranged brother. Years had passed since they last spoke, and the weight of their broken relationship hung heavily in the air. The murmurs around her had gradually quieted. People glanced between Sarah and Tom, unsure how to interpret his sudden arrival. His face, once youthful and carefree, now bore the marks of time and hardship. But the determination in his eyes shimmered like a beacon, pulling Sarah in. Sarah, he said, his voice steady yet unsteady, like a tightrope stretched between them. I heard what happened, and I need to tell you that I believe you. The sincerity of those words cut through her apprehension, and she felt a flicker of hope ignite. What are you doing here, Tom? She asked, feeling the instinct to defend herself surge back. Did he come to cast blame or offer comfort? I want to help you, he replied, stepping closer. It's been too long, and I've seen the pain you've endured. I want to make things right. But Mr. Thompson wasn't done the perfect villain he reveled in being. What a touching family reunion. He sneered, breaking the moment. But what exactly does he know? Is he here to wrap you in a comforting story? Or is he part of this mess? The crowd shifted uneasily, torn between disbelief and curiosity. Sarah could see the doubt creeping back into their faces. Was Tom really an ally, or would he just complicate things further? I know about the diner, Tom said, ignoring Thompson's taunt. I've seen the books. I have evidence that can help clear your name. His gaze met hers, and in that moment, Sarah felt the power of their shared past somehow intertwined beyond the family fractures. What do you mean? She asked, her heart pounding. Hope dawned on her face. Remember that side project we worked on? The new supplier? He continued. I dug into it thinking it might help both of us, but it's all connected. The missing funds. I think I know who is behind this. A hush fell over the room, the air crackling with suspense. Sarah could see the implications of his words spreading through the crowd. Could it be true? Was he about to unravel the mystery that threatened to consume her? Sarah, I can prove you've been set up, Tom said, his eyes pleading for her trust. But we need to act quickly. We don't have much time before they take more action against you. The flicker of hope grew stronger, igniting warmth in her chest. Yet, fear clawed at her, trusting Tom might plunge her further into the chaos. However, without some sort of intervention, her world could shatter completely. Before she could respond, Mr. Thompson stepped forward, fists clenched. Enough of this. Your brother is nothing more than a distraction. You think he is here for you? He is only trying to save his own face. The tension escalated, the townspeople shifted uneasily again. Everyone, Sarah called, her voice regaining strength. If there's a chance that Tom can help, we need to hear him out. Their eyes reflected uncertainty, yet they silently leaned in, waiting for clarity. Tom took a deep breath. I'll show you the documents, but we need a plan. Together, we can uncover the truth. And you, Sarah, you have to stand with me on this. Do you really believe you have the power to turn this around? She asked, uncertainty clawing at her resolve. Absolutely, he replied, conviction flooding his voice. As Sarah considered her options, her mind buzzed with possibilities and doubts. Was this the lifeline she needed to reclaim her diner and dignity? Or was she about to tread down a path that would bring more heartache? Just then, the door swung open again, and a local detective entered, an unexpected twist in an already twisted story. Would he come to support Sarah or take witness against her in the impending storm? The murmur in the room swelled as the detective stood in the doorway, his figure tall and imposing. Detective Morales was known for his sharp instincts and unyielding dedication to justice. Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. Was he here for her or against her? The tension thickened, forcing the crowd to hold its collective breath. Detective Morales, Sarah started, her voice steadying despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. What brings you here? The detective scanned the room, his gaze piercing through the wary faces. I came to check on developments regarding the allegations. I received a tip that there might be more to this story than meets the eye. Mr. Thompson sneered, clearly irritated. What a waste of your time, detective. This is a family matter, and it's none of your business. Morales turned his attention from Thompson to Sarah. I've reviewed some of the evidence. His voice was calm but carried an underlying urgency. But there are gaps that need to be filled if we're going to clear your name. Tom stepped up beside Sarah, his presence reassuring. I can help with that, he said, folding his arms. I believe I have crucial information that will clarify the situation. The crowd shifted again, their eyes flitting between the three of them. A mix of doubt and curiosity rippled through them like a current, drawing them closer to the heart of the conflict. Evidence of what? Morales pressed, stepping cautiously into the fray. What exactly do you have that can prove her innocence? Tom's eyes locked onto the detective's, determined confidence mixing with the vulnerability of being exposed. I discovered discrepancies in the diner's finances linked to a new supplier. I believe someone manipulated the records to frame Sarah. The detective nodded, taking in the implications. If that is true, we need to act fast before whoever is behind this tries to cover their tracks. Then let us do it. Sarah blurted, a mix of desperation and urgency washing over her. I'll do whatever it takes to be cleared. Morales nodded. We need to gather all the paperwork and any correspondence you both have regarding that supplier. Every little detail could be valuable. Mr. Thompson stepped forward again, indignant. You're all wasting your time. The townsfolk don't care about some wild scheme. They want justice. The crowd murmured, torn between loyalty to the longtime businessman and the growing sense of uncertainty about his motives. Sarah sensed that some were starting to question Thompson's integrity, the trust that had been so steadfast now wavering. Sarah, don't you see? Tom urged, an edge of pleading in his voice. This is a chance to expose the truth. You can't let him intimidate you into silence. A fire ignited within Sarah, the embers of hope bursting into flame. You're right. I won't be bullied anymore. She declared, her voice ringing with newfound conviction. As she faced Thompson, every ounce of fear that once bound her began to loosen. I'm ready to fight. Not just for myself, but for my diner, for everything we've built. The detective nodded in approval. That's the spirit. But you need to be careful. Whatever you're up against is bigger than it seems. Just as they were beginning to formulate a plan, the lights flickered ominously, followed by the echo of a slamming door. More townsfolk were arriving, and with them surged a new wave of uncertainty. Whispers floated through the air, insidious and filled with doubt. Sarah! A voice called out from the crowd, breaking through the tension. Sarah turned, her heart sinking as she recognized Melissa, an old friend and confidant. You have to listen to us. There was panic in her eyes. They've started a campaign against you. People are turning against you for good. With fear creeping back into her heart, Sarah realized this fight was only beginning. Uncertainty settled over her. Could she really stand against an entire town? A sudden realization dawned, the stakes had just intensified. What was she willing to risk to save her diner and her name? Tom reached for her hand, a guiding light in the growing darkness. Together, we can face this, he reassured her softly, but the question lingered in the air like a storm. Would their new alliance be enough to unveil the truth? Or were they about to unleash a torrent that would drown them all? The tension in the room thickened. Sarah felt every heartbeat hammering in her chest, the weight of uncertainty looming large. She glanced around, noticing the divided expressions on her friends and neighbors. Some wore concern, their eyes glimmering with uncertainty about the accusations swirling around her. Others, like Mr. Thompson, held their ground, unwavering and resolute in their skepticism. Listen, we need to find those documents, Morales reiterated, his voice brokering authority amidst the chaos. We can't let this spiral out of control. Tom squeezed Sarah's hand, fueling her resolve. It's time to rally the townsfolk who still believe in you, Sarah. We need allies. Absolutely, Sarah replied, her voice gaining strength. I can't do this alone. Melissa stepped forward again, visibly shaken. I heard them talking at the diner. They're spreading lies, trying to turn everyone against you. I don't think they just want to ruin your diner, they want to ruin you. Those words hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. She had spent years serving this town, pouring her heart into her diner, her second home. How could they betray her so easily? What do they want? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, more to herself than anyone else. Tom's brow furrowed in thought. Power control. Thompson has a lot to gain if you're out of the equation. The diner's success makes him uncomfortable, especially if it thrives while his businesses are struggling. The realization was suffocating. So, he's afraid of losing his grip on this town, and I'm his target? Morales nodded, his expression hardening. We need to build a case against him. If we can gather enough evidence to put a spotlight on what he's doing, it could shift the town's perception. Gripping Tom's hand tighter, Sarah straightened her shoulders. Then let us gather that evidence. I'm not backing down. I refuse to let Thompson take everything I love. The crowd around them seemed to come alive with murmurs of hope. Sarah could see glimmers of belief returning to their eyes. They needed focus, a plan. I'll call the diner staff, Melissa said suddenly, determination igniting in her voice. They can help us. If they've noticed anything strange, if they've been approached, we'll find out what's been happening behind the scenes. Tom's eyes lit up. Great idea. Let us mobilize everyone, we need a team. As they began to disperse, shouting out instructions and encouraging those who had once doubted to stand firm, Sarah felt an unfamiliar surge of energy. It was daunting, yet exhilarating. Carrying the names of the people she cherished turned her fear into something like fury, but just as the momentum built, a chilling shout sliced through the murmur of the crowd. Sarah! It was Mr. Thompson, his face twisted in anger. You think you can rally everyone against me? You'll regret this. A wave of anxiety washed over the crowd, but Sarah stood her ground. You can't intimidate me anymore, Thompson. I'm not afraid. The air crackled with intensity, and it felt as if the entire town was holding its breath, watching a pivotal moment unfold. She could almost see the sides forming, people choosing where they stood in this unexpected battle for justice. The detective turned to Sarah, his demeanor preserving an aura of control amidst the chaos. Stay vigilant. Thompson won't go down easily. He plays dirty. I'll be ready, she replied fiercely, her heart pounding. Everyone began to disperse, the hope of a united front pulsating through the air. But as Sarah turned to Tom, her heart lurched with dread. Was she really prepared to confront Thompson and a town that once called her their own, now living in whispered doubt and fear? The feeling of anticipation gripped her. They were crossing a line now, and retreat was no longer an option. What had begun as a simple fight for her diner had ignited into something much larger. Are we ready for this? Tom asked, his voice low but laced with determination. Her answer formed in her throat but hung unspoken, heavy with consequence. Because if they embarked down this path, they might uncover secrets that could either reveal the truth or tear apart everything they loved. Sarah's resolve formed anew as she met Tom's gaze. Let us take that chance, together. And together, they would step into the unknown, gripping tightly to each other amidst the brewing storm. What awaited on the other side would test not only their strength but the bounds of their trust in a community now divided. But as the darkness loomed ahead, one question burned brighter than the others: would they find justice, or would they become casualties in this escalating battle? The morning sun peeked through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the town. But as Sarah stood at the entrance of the diner, she felt the icy tendrils of anxiety settling in. The diner had always been a place of warmth and laughter, but today it seemed to echo with uncertainty. She turned to Tom, who was pacing, his brow furrowed in thought. Do you think they'll show up? Sarah asked, glancing at the empty parking lot. Her heart sank a little more. The small glimmers of hope from last night felt fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind. Tom paused, searching her eyes for strength. They will. They have to. This is their home just as much as it is yours. Taking a deep breath, Sarah opened the door. The familiar smell of coffee and freshly baked pastries washed over her. Melissa was already there, organizing tables with an energy Sarah wished she felt. The staff was loyal, and they knew this diner like the back of their hands. Together, they had built something special that Thompson was now trying to tear apart. I reached out to everyone I could, Melissa said, her voice steady despite her nerves. Some are scared, but a few are ready to help. We can turn this around, Sarah. We will. The door chimed again, and a cluster of familiar faces stepped in, eyes wide with uncertainty but a flicker of determination nestled within. It wasn't just about the diner to them, though. The local businesses and the essence of their small-town life were at stake. Okay, everyone, Sarah said, her voice trembling slightly but gaining strength. We can't let fear weaken us any longer. Mr. Thompson thrives on division and doubt. He wants us to be afraid. A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathered crowd. Sarah stepped away from the counter, moving closer, letting their collective energy swell around her. We need to gather stories, things he has done, things people have seen, anything that can help us stand against him. Just then, the bell jingled again, and to her shock, Mrs. Jensen walked in, a formidable figure known for her tough nature and unwavering loyalty. You're not alone in this, Sarah. I'll do whatever it takes, she declared, her words bringing a wave of relief. It was clear they were all in this together. As more townsfolk entered, their faces slowly transformed from worry to resolve. People were ready to fight for their community. With every new person that stepped through the door, strength surged within Sarah. They began sharing stories, piecing together incidents that painted a vivid picture of Thompson's schemes. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. Word had spread quickly through the crowd that Thompson had been seen lurking around town, and there were whispers of his nearing return. The thought sent a chill down Sarah's spine. "We need to be ready," she whispered to Tom, who nodded, a fierce look in his eyes. As the meeting progressed, so did their plans. They formed small groups to uncover evidence against Thompson while others would speak to those who had doubts. The diner buzzed with activity and purpose, each voice adding to the chorus of determination that in the back of Sarah's mind, doubts still clung. Would they really be able to take him down? What if they uncovered something far worse? But seeing the faces of her friends filled her with a fierce conviction. Just as the group began to develop a strategy, the door slammed open, and in strode Mr. Thompson himself, his gaze icy and predatory. The room fell silent, fear rippling through the crowd. He swept his gaze over everyone, then rested it on Sarah, a smirk curving his lips. "Here you are rallying the troops, I see," he said, each word dripping with disdain. "What makes you think they'll stand behind you when you're the one they all suspect?" A collective gasp echoed through the diner. Sarah's heart raced, but she stood tall, her voice unwavering. "They're standing for the truth, and we will fight against your lies, Thompson." Everyone shifted as they felt the tension rise, a palpable energy humming in the air. Sarah refused to let fear grip her. This was the moment they had prepared for, and there was no turning back now. As Thompson stepped further inside, a feeling of dread wrapped around her, but it was matched by the urgency in her heart. "Let us see how far you're willing to go, Sarah," he challenged, eyes flashing. In that moment, she understood, it was not just her diner on the line. It was the heart of the community itself. Would they unravel his darkness, or would Thompson's shadow consume them all? The stakes had never been higher, and as she locked eyes with Tom, both knew the fight was just beginning. The silence in the diner was deafening, broken only by the nervous shuffling of feet and the clinking of mugs against the counters. Sarah could feel all eyes on her, searching for strength, for leadership at this pivotal moment. The terrifying presence of Thompson was like a dark cloud overhead, looming and threatening to overshadow their resolve. "You don't own this place, Thompson," Sarah exclaimed, fighting to keep her voice steady. "You think you can intimidate us? We are more than the diner. We're a community, and we're not backing down." Thompson stepped forward, a predator eyeing its prey. "Is that so? You think a few stories and whispers will change anything? You're out of your depth, Sarah. Remember, I have resources you can't compete with." His cold laugh sent shivers down Sarah's spine, but she held her ground. Her heart pounded in her chest, but the fire in her belly pushed her forward. "Resources don't matter when you're standing on a foundation of lies," she replied, and she noticed several town members nodding in agreement. Then, one brave soul, Jack, who often repaired the diner's plumbing, stepped up. "Mr. Thompson," he said, voice rising with confidence. "You may have money and influence, but that doesn't mean you can walk all over the people who care about this town. It's about more than your bottom line, it's about our lives." His bravery sparked something in the others. Another voice chimed in, followed by another, until a wave of courage surged through the room, shaking off the shadows Thompson cast. "Yeah. What's a diner without its community? It's just a building." Melissa shouted, her hands balling into fists, and the room erupted in cheers and passionate agreement. Sarah felt the unity growing, the warmth of hope flooding the space, but Thompson wasn't done. He took a step back, assessing the room with malicious glee, his smirk now a sneer. "Unity, huh? You really think that I'll hold up when I take this place from you?" He turned, glancing at the diner's windows, the humming of cars outside muffling his words momentarily. "You're fighting a losing battle. I'll have my lawyers on this, and you'll see just how futile this is." A lawyer's threat. Tom stepped forward, arms crossed defiantly. "Bring it on. We have stories that will unravel your facade. I know what you've done." His words stoked the collective emotion in the room. Sarah looked to her friends, her heart swelling. Everyone was shaking off the veil of fear and rising. The crowd began to chant, "Fight for the diner. Fight for the town." The energy became electric, filling every corner of the diner with vigor, but then, the bell chimed again. A newcomer burst through the door, breathless and wild-eyed. Sarah squinted, feeling her stomach knot. It was Carl, the town's mechanic, but something was clearly wrong. "Sarah!" he shouted, storming toward her, his face pale. "You wouldn't believe what I just found. Thompson's up to something bigger than we thought." The room quieted immediately again, tension shifting gears, uncertainty now taking precedence over confidence. "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" Tom asked, a note of panic creeping into his voice. Carl's gaze darted around the room, as if he were afraid someone might overhear. "I stumbled upon some documents in the back of the automotive shop. They detail plans to bulldoze the diner and more of the town's landmarks to make room for that shopping center. He's coming for everything we cherish." The shock swept through everyone like wildfire. Disbelief morphed into mounting determination. Sarah's heart raced again, this time with urgency. "No. We can't let him do this. We have to expose him before it's too late." The stakes had escalated. All eyes turned to Sarah, waiting for her next command. But a wave washed over her, doubt mingled with the newfound adrenaline. What could they do to stop this? How would they fight against a plan already set in motion? "Let us gather those documents, find the truth," she started, her voice growing stronger. "We can handle this together, for the heart of our community." But deep down, a nagging question brewed. Could they truly expose Thompson, or was it too late to save their home? As uncertainty lingered, Sarah knew they had to act fast, but at what cost? The atmosphere shifted as Carl's revelation settled deep in everyone's minds. Fear crept back in, but this time it was mixed with a fierce determination. Sarah's heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears as she scanned the diner, taking in the chain of anxious faces waiting for direction. "Does anyone know what we need to do next?" she asked, her voice steadying with resolve. "We can't let Thompson bulldoze everything we've built together." A murmur of agreement swept through the group. "We have to organize," Jack suggested, his brow furrowing. "If he's got plans, we need to counter them. Gather evidence, talk to everyone, find out how far this goes." "We can set up a meeting tonight," Tom chimed in, leaning closer. "We can start working on a plan to gather the documents Carl saw. We need proof of his intentions. That's our strongest weapon." As the ideas flew around the table, Sarah felt her pulse steadying. With every suggestion, their unity fortified her own resolve. The fear of what Thompson wanted to take from them was rapidly being replaced by determination to protect it. She could see it in their eyes, they were ready to fight. "How about the town hall?" someone suggested. "It's the heart of our community meetings and could serve as a rallying point." "Yes. Let us do that. We'll post flyers all over town, use social media, whatever it takes," Sarah affirmed, her voice raising to the hairs on the back of her neck. "We need to show everyone that we cannot be silenced. This can't just be about the diner. It's about our history, our memories, our very lives." The group erupted into cheers again, fueled by the momentum they were building. Sarah felt it surge through her, igniting a fire that had lain dormant. They weren't just fighting for a diner, they were fighting for a sense of belonging, for the memories tied to every cup of coffee and slice of pie served with love. As everyone began brainstorming how to spread the word, Carl's worry surfaced again. "But what if he finds out we're onto him before we're ready?" He was pacing, tension radiating like tangible waves in the air. "If he knows we're preparing to counter him, he'll be more dangerous than ever." Sarah took a deep breath and nodded. "We have to be smart. We can work underground for now. Use whispers instead of announcements." Turning to the people gathered, she realized how much this moment meant. This isn't about just standing up against Thompson. It's about reclaiming our town, our lives. It's time we show him that the spirit of this community is stronger than any threat he poses. The crowd roared, their voices echoing off the diner's walls. Sarah felt triumph sweep over her like a wave. But in the back of her mind, a small voice reminded her of Thompson's resources. How far would he be willing to go to stop them? As the meeting continued, plans coming together, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and dread. Time was ticking, and the walls felt like they were closing in. They had a chance, but the clock was running out. Suddenly, a loud crash outside brought everyone to a halt. They rushed to the windows, the sight freezing Sarah's heart. A truck with Thompson's logo was tearing down Main Street, a line of workers unloading materials, preparing for a demolition. He's moving already. Someone gasped. We have to do something now. Panic surged through the room, but Sarah rallied them, determination sparking in her eyes. We're not letting this happen. Let us get out there and confront him. As they rushed out, adrenaline coursed through Sarah's veins. Would they be able to stand together against the looming threat? And what if the truth about Thompson was worse than they ever imagined? As Sarah burst through the diner doors, the morning sun blazed down, illuminating the chaos unfurling before her. Thompson's truck stood like a dark sentinel in the middle of Main Street, workers busy lining up equipment to begin demolition. The atmosphere was thick with fear, but Sarah's heart raced with a pulse of defiance. Everyone, gather around. She called, her voice cutting through the fray like a knife. Friends and supporters flocked toward her, a motley crew of determined faces reflecting solidarity against the looming threat. Among them were Melissa, Jack, and even Mrs. Jensen, their eyes ablaze not with fear, but with the fiery spirit of a town that refused to be torn apart. This is it, Sarah thought. This was what her father had taught her: a community could survive anything if they stood together. Listen up. She continued, shaking off the knot of anxiety in her gut. We're not just down here to watch them take away our diner. We're here to reclaim what's ours. Affirmation rippled through the crowd, a chorus of support lifting her spirit. They marched toward the workers and Thompson, whose triumphant grin faltered as he spotted the tidal wave of community coming his way. What are you doing? He barked as they closed the distance. This is private property. No, Thompson. Sarah countered, her pulse roaring in her ears. This is our town. You don't get to decide who gets to thrive here. Murmurs of agreement bellowed back. Jack stepped up beside her. You're about to witness the spirit of this community. We're not afraid of you. Is that so? Thompson narrowed his eyes, and for a second, doubt clouded his smirk. You think these people will stand by you when I have the law on my side? Sarah felt the weight of his words. His grip had tightened on the town's fears. But then, a powerful voice broke through the tension, belonging to Carl. We've seen what you're doing, Thompson. And we're not going to let you destroy the heart of this place for your own gain. We have proof of what you're planning. The crowd surged behind him, voices rising. The tide of determination was undeniable. Thompson shifted, anger flashing in his eyes. You think you're protected by your little stories? You have no idea what you're up against. But Sarah stood resolute, pulling strength from those around her. We know what you intend to do. We've rallied together, and we'll make sure everyone knows the truth. Suddenly, a sharp whistle pierced through the buzz of adrenaline. It was Detective Morales, striding confidently onto the scene. What's all this commotion? His voice was firm, resonating with authority, and tension shifted in an instant. Detective, you have to stop him. Sarah urged, her heart pounding. He's trying to demolish our diner. We need evidence against him. Detective Morales assessed the scene, a flicker of understanding in his gaze. We've been investigating Thompson for a while now, he began. This isn't just about the diner. We've tracked his dealings, and they're not just shady, they're illegal. Gasps echoed through the crowd. We can expose him, Morales continued, but you must be the witnesses. You've all seen what he has done. Tom sidled up next to Sarah, a determined grin breaking over his face. "With your help, we can finally take him down," he said, confidence blooming between them. "You want to fight, Thompson?" Morales challenged, stepping forward, radiating strength. "You've underestimated this town for too long." Thompson's bravado waned slightly. "You're making a mistake, Morales. I have contacts within the ranks. You win this battle." "I'm not worried about your contacts," Morales retorted, "because the truth is more powerful." The workers glanced at each other, unsure. "Are you truly prepared to risk everything for someone like him?" Morales projected. "You can walk away now or stay and be part of something that can change this town for the better." Sarah felt the snowy weight of determination build behind her. "This is our home," she declared, encouraging glances between friends. "This isn't just about one diner. It's about what we choose to defend our memories, our lives. We're stronger together." One by one, the workers lowered their tools, their gazes shifting from Thompson to Sarah. A palpable shift in loyalty hung in the air. "If Thompson thinks he can bulldoze this diner, he has to get through us first." Someone shouted, and cheers erupted, echoing around Main Street. "Rally behind Sarah. Together, we're unstoppable." Another added. With renewed strength, Sarah turned to Thompson, who now wore a mask of anger mixed with worry. "The days of your manipulation are over," she said firmly. As the crowd rallied, Sarah felt the weight of her father's lessons guiding her, the power of truth, community, and resilience. Today was not just a turning point for her diner, but for their entire small town. "Let us show him what we're made of," she cried, fists pumping the air, and the roar of agreement exploded. As they faced downward, ready to stand their ground against Thompson, they felt like a force of nature. The heart of the diner pulsed through the crowd, a united front rising against the adversity they had faced. Sarah knew this was just the beginning, but together, they would bridge the chasm of doubt with unity and courage, reclaiming everything they loved. "Let us do this," Sarah shouted, and the town echoed back, unity enveloping them like a warm blanket, shielding them from the storm that was still brewing ahead. And as they stood there, side by side, hope burst free like the sun breaking through clouds, marking the dawn of a new day. Now it was time to deliver the truth, together. You need to subscribe now to our channel, so you don't miss the next inspiring twist in this story. Leave a like now to show your support, and help lift our video into the hearts of everyone who needs to see this change. Comment your feelings about this dramatic moment. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can inspire more and more people.